Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX, and it is time for the daily video update. We've had a great week so far. We had a holiday on Monday, but one of the trades that we had carry on from Friday ended up taking us out with some great profit. Plus, we're sitting in a couple of trades that are looking pretty nice. So markets are choppy, but they're doing okay. You can see that the Dow today was down about 100 points, and it's recovered quite a bit. Oil's down just a little bit. We've seen oil up in the higher 90s, and it's kind of down to those mid 90s now, so that's some progress. S&P's had a rough day, and gold is really nicely up there. Gold's made a big rally, so kind of a little bit of a mixed bag um, across the board there. As far as news goes today, we've had a couple of things happen. We have the GDP for Australia coming up in several hours. We did have the ISM report for the U.S., and it was a little tiny bit lower than expected by about 0.4%, nothing too crazy. So there's been a little bit, again, kind of a mixed bag of reports. We've just seen announcements all over the place. Coming up for tomorrow, some of the big news we have, particularly the interest rates for Canada coming out. That should be a bit of a mover, and Australian employment reports should get things going a little bit. Some CPI for Switzerland. A couple of things, nothing too crazy. But coming into Thursday and Friday, we have non-farm payroll for the U.S. We have a press conference with the ECB. That's really going to determine the overall direction of what the euro pairs in particular are going to be doing over the next couple of weeks and months and so on. Remember, we're in September. This is a good time for trending markets to start trending. So we're kind of looking for that to happen. Starting off with the euro dollar here, we've seen some interesting things on the euro dollar. It's gotten pretty choppy in here. So far, it seems to be staying just kind of below some of these highs right here. We've taken a couple of attempts at this 26 kind of 30, 40 area, and it just doesn't seem to want to be able to get above that yet. You can see on the daily chart it's kind of topped out here, and it's been coming back ever since. And that's just from the highest to the lowest point of all of 2012 so far. That's just kind of above the 38% fib, well below the 50, and just kind of consolidating at around this 38% fib. So it's not really getting too much direction. We have a couple of important levels to look for. We currently have a trade going on in relation to this 125, 50, 60 area. But another thing to look for is a break of this level right here. You can see that this is pretty strong support and resistance right here. Good resistance back there, really good support all of recently right here. So this level currently sits at these lows are right about 125.55. That's why I have this kind of 50-60. It's kind of in that range. So we're sitting about 125.55. And if the market breaks below that, if the euro breaks below about 125.50, then we've got our lower pivots here. We've got 200-day moving average. We've got some pretty good support down in this general region. So there's not a ton of room unless there's some violent move. If it just kind of breaks and trickles here, then we don't have a ton of room before we come into major support. But keep an eye on a break of this 125.55 area, and we may see this run down into about 125.35. So again, probably a quick 20 pip run. Other than that, we're looking for this to kind of continue off these lows and retest some of these highs in the coming hours, even day or two. So just kind of keep an eye on that setup. And remember, these highs up here that I'm looking for right now are right around 126.25, 30, right in that general area. So that's what we're watching for there. Pound dollar has been a little bit choppy as well, but it's given us some decent movements. We got stopped out at 1 pip profit on this. We locked in on this rundown, and it came up, and it's just been all over the place and really choppy. The levels to remember on this pound dollar, 158.50. You can see that there's some definite common levels coming through here. So break below 158.50, which I would not most likely try to get into until we get a break below this, should give us a little bit of run down into some of these lower areas. 158.20 and 158.00. Again, we're going to come into contact with the 200-day moving average and some of the lower pivots here, and so that's going to be something to keep in mind. But so far, the pound dollar has really struggled. It's tried to break above this 61.8% fib. We have this big range here, and it's double topped now on this 61.8% fib on the daily chart, and it just keeps not being able to break any higher. So again, below 158.50, I think we have a great selling opportunity to continue taking this pair down. So that's what I'm going to be watching for, looking for, seeing if we get some of that movement. And again, if we break above 159.12, then we have a great buying opportunity. We're not really that far from either one of these levels. You can see we're about 35 pips from the high and about 25 pips from the low. So we need a run, up or down to get through those levels. But once we do, we should see some pretty nice runs. So 158.12, 159.12, 158.50. Euro yen is really choppy and messy. Although for our UK notes last night, I posted an entry at to sell at 96.95, or excuse me, 98.95. I'm having a heck of a time with the numbers this first part of the week here. So excuse me. So what we have here is a very nice little reversal off this double top, and it ran very, very nicely down into our target for a great 50 pip run. Everything went very, very well on that whole situation. So now we have that going on, but the rest of it is very choppy, except for when we look at the slightly longer term picture. You can see a nice double top here on this 4-hour chart, which is right around the 9,900 area. So ultimately, if we got an open above 9,900 on the 4-hour chart, that would be very bullish for me, and I would be expecting a very nice big run up from there. Likewise, I think we can get some reversal patterns, some nice bounces off some of these lows off of this 9,800. We have this 100 pip channel here, 9,800, 9,900. If we get some good reversals off these lows here, I think I would be looking to take a buy off that as well. Likewise, a break of those lows could really open this pair up for some big downside. You can see that we've got a nice big trend line right here. See that daily chart has just been running up that, consolidating below the 9,900. So if we get a break below 9,800, look for big runs. A break above 9,900, look for big runs. And likewise, look for things like pin bars and so on off of this 9,800, and once again off of this 9,900. So look for reversal patterns and look for breakouts of both of those levels, and we should see some nice movements. The Aussie dollar is getting a little bit interesting. We have some more news coming out of Australia, so keep an eye on that, but it's starting to bounce along this 38% fib. Now that 38% fib, remember, is coming from this daily chart. So we ran up this channel, very nice little move up, and as soon as it turned and broke out of that channel, we grabbed some nice pips from this 23 partway down to this 38% fib, but now it's coming into contact with the 100-day moving average, the 38% fib, a lot of good things, and we can see that it's kind of starting to bounce here. So we want to make sure that this candle is going to be able to close really nice and positive, but it's looking like we could get a bounce and we could get a little bit of a run back up into about towards 10300, maybe not all the way to 10300, but very much towards that area. And I think we have a 30, 40, or 50 pip bounce up into that general area. So look for that. Likewise, if it does break about 10200, then it's probably going to continue right on trucking down. But anything above 10200 with some of these reversals and some of these bounces and so on here should keep the pair somewhat bullish on a short-term basis to bounce up into that area. So keep that in mind. And then gold is getting kind of uneventful. It's just consolidating below 1700 and looking for that to kind of continue higher, but it may or may not. So I'm not looking to do too much with gold just yet. But I do think we have some great opportunities with a bounce on the Aussie dollar, a bounce or break on this 9,900, 9,800 on the euro yen. Bounce or break once again of 15900, 158.50. Both these levels I'm looking for a bounce or break, and then with the euro dollar as well, looking for kind of all of that as well, looking for a break of this 125.50 area. So keep an eye on that. We've got some great setups and some more good pips coming, so I'll keep you guys posted. Keep an eye on Twitter, and we'll see you in the chat with more details. Thanks a bunch, everyone.